Hello everyone, just going to see if I can find the live on the iPad so I can read all your comments. Hopefully I've got the volume already turned down. Yep. Right, hello. Hope a few of you can join me. I know Mum's currently busy sharing to a few different groups and stuff at the moment, so I know she'll be here shortly. But yeah, I'm going to show you how to do these Christmas bauble cards. So for those of you that did see my live a couple of weeks ago, I think it was now, on YouTube, this is very, very similar techniques to what I done during that live, but it's just a slightly different card. I think it's quite nice doing something a bit different with the stamps and not using them as, you know, as they're designed to, sort of as background stamps and things. Well, we've got a few people joining us now. Hi Chris, hi Sandra, hi Jill. I'm just gonna have a swig of drink. Has anybody actually started their Christmas card yet? I haven't really done any at all. I always leave it till, you know, the last minute. I've made a couple, as you've seen during the lives. But yeah, I've hardly done any at all. It's quite embarrassing, really. Hi Chris, hi Trisha. Yeah, I really do need to pull my finger out and do a few more, really. So I guess it's quite handy doing the lives and trying to do a few Christmassy cards during the lives. I have started, but still lots to do. Yeah, I've hardly done any. Mind you, I have to be honest, I don't make Christmas cards for everyone. I sort of do, you know, I make a few cards up and just send them to other card makers. And of course family. Family will expect a handmade card. So yeah, I usually do that, but I'm ashamed to say I do actually send box cards to a lot of people, just because otherwise there's too many to send. Yes, I'm in a group that makes Christmas cards every week. Do you know what? That's actually a good idea. And I think if you can kind of get yourself in gear and even try and make a couple of Christmas cards a month, it just takes the pressure off a little bit. Maybe next year that's what we need to do in the group. Perhaps we should set ourselves a task to make 1 or 2 Christmas cards each month. And yeah, just so that it's not a mad rush right at the end. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll see if we can try and set that challenge up if anyone else is up for it. You might not be, but yeah, let us know. Cool. Yeah, that is a cool idea. Good afternoon, Carol. Right, so yeah, as I said, this is very similar techniques to the ones that I done during my YouTube video. Great idea, Dina. Okay, that's brilliant. Maybe we'll set it up then for next year. Perhaps in, you know, halfway through January or something. But yeah, so similar techniques to the YouTube live that I done, but it's just slightly different. I think the one, I've actually still got that card, I think, out here. Oh, have I? No, looks like I did put it away. So the one I done before was using stars, but this time I thought I'd do baubles. This was the first one I made, and I used a star on it, but I wasn't overly keen on the star. I don't think it sort of works, you know, quite how I wanted. And I also done it where I drew some lines onto the actual baubles themselves. I don't know if you can see that, like the little black lines. But I had another play, because also I just found that the background was a little bit too gold. I've got a slightly darker green ink pad today that I'm going to be using. But yeah, on this one as well, I also done the lines on the outside of the baubles, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, before we carry on, I think I've got a few people. I will mention this again later on. But Jean has very kindly, Jean and Malcolm have very kindly put all the stamps that I'm using today on a special offer. Hello, Stephanie. So these stamps here, I'll move them up a bit so you can see the numbers. Hi, Jean. Yeah, so I'm using CI436, CI430, CI628 and CI614. So Jean's put together a fabulous bargain bundle for these 4 stamps, along with some festive papers, a mini book and some more bits. I have no idea, I haven't actually had a look at it yet, but the usual price for everything singly, so if you bought everything singly, it would be $47.39. And just these stamps alone would be $37.80 for just these 4 stamps. But Jean has very kindly put the bundle together for £25. So if you haven't got these in your stash, do pop along, because that is, you know, it's a bargain, isn't it? So yeah, pop along and grab yourself a bargain. I will try and find the link for that, and I will pop that up. If not, Jean might pop it up later on this afternoon or something. But yeah, we'll sort a link out for you later on. Right. So I've got here, I've already cut out a topper piece, so this will fit on a all right, they are on the website under special offers bundle. Oh, brilliant. Hopefully they're a little bit easier than the last offer to find, because I really struggled finding that. But yeah, so if they're under special offers, hopefully you'll be able to find it nice and easy. I said I will try and pop some links when I post a picture of the card later on. I'll pop some links up of the stamps and everything. Right, so yeah, I've cut this out to fit on a 6x6 card blank, but I've cut it out slightly smaller than usual. So this is just over 13 centimetres, this card piece. Yeah, they're definitely on there. Oh, brilliant. Right, so I'm going to start with the background. Right, I should actually just check. I had to borrow some ink pads off my mum because I wasn't too happy with the green that I had. I think on the one that I used on my card, what green was that? I used the VersaFine Olympia green, but it wasn't quite dark enough for what I was trying to do. Awesome bargain, ladies. I love these stamps. Fab to use. They absolutely are. And I think it's great because, you know, like I said, you don't just have to use them for background stamps, like I'm using them as a main feature on a card. Bonjour, everyone. I had difficulty finding the link today. Oh, that's a shame. Well, at least you found it. But yeah, I might actually just stamp this out on some paper just to check what one I was using, because I can't remember which one I wanted to use. So these are the VersaFine Claire and Rainforest or Shady Lane. I can't remember which one I said I was going to use. So I'm just going to stamp it out really quickly on a piece of scrap. I'm pretty sure it was the darker one of the two. Yes, it was. So it's actually a really nice green. I said I had to pinch this one off of Mum, but I am going to have to go out, I think, and buy one of these greens later on. Right, so I'm starting off with the inky script, and as you know, I very often don't mount it, so I'm not going to on this occasion. I'm just going to go straight in and just randomly apply the ink. I'm hoping I don't smudge this one. On the last card that I did just move it ever so slightly. Well, that's better. I have one of them. I actually used it the other day, but it's still worth buying the bundle. It absolutely is. It's such a bargain price. So I'm just going to randomly stamp this. It's actually such a lovely green. So you can probably see I've got a little arrow pointing to what way this stamp goes. Making sure that when I grab it in a hurry, that I know that I'm going to be stamping it the right way up each time. Go for about there. Now some of the centre is going to be covered with the Bauble. It's the one you're using now. Do you know, this is probably my most used stamp, Carol. I think it's such a handy stamp to have. You know, it's perfect for if you sort of want to create a background, or if you're doing sort of, because I do a lot of inky backgrounds and I stamp, say, butterflies and things like that, but if you've got like blank areas that you want to fill in, you know, this stamp is absolutely perfect for it. You will see me use this on quite a few of my lives. Right, now I'm going to add a little bit of gold embossing powder to this. I don't want to go over the top because I think for my last one, it was just a little bit too much gold. Oh, Gina has found the link for the bundle and she's popped that up. So do pop along and grab yourself a bargain. That was, I think Jean said that was up until Monday. Should have said that as well earlier on. But yeah, I'm just using some gold detail embossing powder. This is the Cosmic Shimmer one. Now, because I don't want it all over, I'm just going to sprinkle it in small areas. So I'll go for about there, and I'm going to tip it off sort of as I go. I'm not going to cover the whole area in it. So I just want sort of little areas of gold, just so it kind of ties in a little with the baubles, but I definitely want more green showing through than gold. Now, if you find that you get a little bit too much gold, you know, where you don't want it, what you can just do is take a dry brush. I think I have got one here. Oh, hi, Mum. Not to worry, I know you've been busy sharing to other groups and things. So yeah, if you've got areas that you know you definitely don't want it on, just take a dry brush and you can just scrape it off. I'm going to leave it to that for now. Now, just so that I haven't got the heat gun on for absolutely ages, I'm also going to use some of the other embossing powder. Again, I have used it during another live. So this is this is quite a thick embossing powder. It's the Wow, I think it's said Parisa, have I got that right? Yeah, it's quite thick, but what I like about this is it's got different tones in it. So it's got sort of copper tones, it's got some gold in there and some silver. I'll just try and see if I can hold that still so that you can see it. So I quite like the fact that it's got all the mixed colours in there. Now what I'm going to do, you have to do this very carefully, and I'm not going to do the whole piece at once. So I'm just going to sprinkle little areas on, not necessarily over the text. So literally just little, oh, that's a bit too much there. What I'm going to do is move that around a bit. So sort of move that, hopefully that'll be all right. I call that gritty glitter. Yeah, it is an embossing powder, but it is great fun. Now, because as you can see, I've not stuck this down to anything, I'm going to pop that over there. I'm going to heat this from underneath because otherwise it will fly everywhere. And as you're heating underneath, try and do it at an angle so that you're not, you know, none of the bits are going to fly into your heat gun. So try not to hold it completely, you know, under the edge. I think somebody said the other week that you could use the just ultra thick embossing powder. I think a lot of people still have that in their stash, don't they, from years ago. So I'm just going to move this around. So I don't know if you can see it, as it melts, it kind of melts in quite large blobs. I love it, it's great stuff. It's my new favourite embossing powder now. I think I'll be using it quite a lot. I just like the fact that it's a mixed embossing powder, and you know, it's got a bit of gold, a bit of silver and a bit of sort of copper tones in. So right, I'm just going to turn this round very carefully. And actually, now that I've turned it round, I might just add some embossing powder to these other areas. Just over here. Ooh, I think that will probably do. No, I'll put that this side because otherwise I'll end up spilling it everywhere. Afternoon, Tracy. So you can see that the gold embossing powder is also embossing quite nicely as well over the green. You could obviously, if you wanted to, use I suppose you could use green embossing powder and stuff, couldn't you, with it, with some gold, if you wanted to, but I'm just sticking with the green ink. Hi Caroline. I've still got some flock powder in my stash. Oh goodness, I haven't seen that for ages. Every so often I have a rummage and find things I forgot about. Yeah, it's really bad, isn't it? I often do this. You tidy up and put everything away and then go through the drawers and find something that you've completely forgotten about, that you've had for years and never even used. That's the worst bit of it. Right, so I'm just going to do this edge. I always think that embossing powder works by magic. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Right, I'm hoping that's just about done now. I'm just going to go on top just to make sure that it has all. I think there are some bits there that I have missed. So do I. I then put them back and forget again. Yeah, it's really bad, isn't it? They always say, don't they, collecting is a whole new hobby in itself. Right, so I think I'll leave it at that. I'm just going to tip this embossing powder back in so I don't waste it. What I should have done first actually is do some green embossing around the edge. Not embossing, distressing. Completely forgot about that. So I'm just going to go around the edge with forest moss. I'd recommend probably doing this first, but I completely forgot. So I'm not going to go too far in. So this is the oxides. I don't usually use oxides. I think, well, I tend to go through phases of using oxides and inks. I don't know why. I think my go-to is probably inks. I don't know what everyone else prefers. I think it depends on the type of background that you're doing as well, doesn't it? Excuse me, sorry. I'm actually just getting over a cold, so I'm still a little bit coughing a little bit. So I do apologise about that. I like oxides and ordinary distress. Yeah, I think it depends what you're doing, really, doesn't it? I said I don't know, sometimes I go through phases of you know, using oxides, but then I always work back towards the inks. Right, I'm now going to pop this to the side for a little while, and I'm going to start work on the baubles. So I have already cut some card out. Now for these I just used 3 different sizes of circle dies. I have used dies without stitching on them. So I think these are Sizzix. Yeah, these are Sizzix circle dies, but obviously you could use any. And if you don't have plain circle dies, you know, you could always draw around something. It's quite a basic shape, isn't it, to sit and cut out. So you could do that as well, but I've cut them out. I've cut a few extras out just in case I make a mistake. So yeah, I've cut them out in 3 different sizes. I've cut one out in craft card, I've cut the larger one out in craft card, and then 2 smaller in white. I love oxides and VersaFine Clair. Yeah, I do love VersaFine Clairs. I have got a few colours in them, not a huge selection. I'm slowly building them up. As I said, I had to pinch Mum's green ones for this project, but I will be going shopping, I think, for some new greens. Right, so I think I'll start with the big one first, with the one on craft card, and I'm going to use this gorgeous background stamp, so it's CI430. Now if you do prefer, you could probably just stamp this out on a piece of card first and then die cut the area that you prefer. Just for quickness, I have already cut it out, and I'm just going to go in and stamp it. Hopefully I get it roughly where I want it. So I'm going to ink this up in black. Obviously you could use the Versamark ink pad, but because I'm embossing in gold, you know, the black doesn't actually show through. Got some fluff on there. Don't know where that's come from. No, it's still on there. With my tweezers. No, maybe there's not. Perhaps it is just my eyes playing tricks on me. So yeah, I'm inking quite a large section of this patterned area up, just so that I know that I'm definitely then going to cover the whole circle. I do apologise, I've got the planes flying over at the moment, making a bit of a racket. You can guarantee that as soon as I go on a live, they'll start flying over. I hope they're not too loud. So I'm just using my Baron tool to push the ink into the card. Do you know what? I've actually done it again where I forgot to do something. I'm going to scrap that piece. Sorry, folks. To add a bit of dimension to these, I added some colour. I forgot all about that. Where's my brown brush gone? So I added a bit of colour to this. So for the brown, I went with a brown oxide. Sorry, I completely forgot. I would recommend doing this step first rather than the stamping, because if you try and apply the oxides over the embossing powder, it does go a bit funny. And I did try and polish it off and it didn't work so well. I wish I was on one. These aren't those sort of planes. They're actually the can't think, you know, like the fighter planes. They're in training at the moment. We get them a lot in training over this way. So yeah, I'm not sure you'd want to be on one of those planes going somewhere nice. Right, so I'm going to go again and just stamp this out. Wouldn't the bauble stay in the Christmas tree? It was afraid of the bark. RAF, yes, it is. As I said, we usually get them flying over. I think it's on a Wednesday and there's another day, but I can't remember what. And And you can usually guarantee that if Jean's doing a live, they won't go over on those days. But of course, as soon as I'm doing one, they'll go over at just the time that you're just the time that I'm doing a live. It's typical, isn't it? Right, well, we are surrounded by air bases here in Norfolk. Yeah, we certainly are. Right, so I'm now going to emboss this in the fine detail gold again. What I'd also recommend doing is using the anti-static bag, but I always forget that step as well. I have got it sitting right next to me, but I always forget to do it. Right, so I'm now just going to emboss this. I'm laying it on a piece of paper just to lift it up from my messy mat so I don't melt that. French Air Force flyer, low and fast. When they do their dog fights, it's very exciting to watch. Yeah, I don't really like hearing them. I find them quite scary sometimes, especially when they are really low. I remember when we was away, one went over, and I'm not kidding, it was so low, the whole ground shook. It was a plane trying to go undercover, and yeah, the whole ground shook. The dogs didn't like it. It was quite scary. I've never seen a plane so low down before. Honestly, I think it wasn't much higher than all the houses, put it that way. It was really low. Right, so now the gold one's done. I'm just going to pop that to the side, and I'm going to start on the smaller ones. I'm just going to give my mat a bit of a wipe because I have got some ink on there. Right, so I'm going for my smaller ones. And this time I'm going to go back to using the moss. Quite a few in Lincolnshire at one time, but have shut now. Oh, that's probably a good thing in a way, isn't it, that they've closed? Right, so I'm just going to go around the edge again with the moss green. Again, I think it just adds a little bit of dimension to the baubles. Oh, that low flying really does sound scary. Yeah, it really was. I couldn't believe it when I come out the door and saw that. It literally felt like it was going to sort of fly into the houses and stuff. It was that low. Right, and I'll do the small one as well while I've got that out. So you can see I'm only going around the edge. I'm not going too far in here. I suppose you could if you wanted to colour the whole bauble in, but I'm not going to on this. Right, so for this one, I'm going to decorate it with the little swirl that's on 628. Where's my little stamping block one? Right, so I'm going to start with the medium size one first. And I'm just going to go for the top and the bottom on this. So I think I'll go around there. And then turn it the other way. I might just add a tiny little bit there. I feel like it needs a bit more something. When I was in Germany, the fighter planes were very low and very loud. They were American bases everywhere. Oh goodness. Yeah, I think it is quite scary. Right, and go about there. Sorry if I'm taking a bit long to position the stamp. It's quite hard when you're trying not to lean over the camera too much. Right, so just going to emboss this one. No, wrong one. So just applying some more gold embossing powder. I'm not too worried about stray embossing powder on this. I think it just sort of adds a bit of sparkle to it. But if you do find that you've got stray bits that you don't want there, you know, like I said before, you can just use a little dry brush. Oh, I can't pick that up now. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to emboss this one now. Said I do apologise, there's lots of embossing here on this one. It's funny, I actually hardly ever use coloured embossing powders and gold particularly, but this actually makes a nice change to, you know, do something a bit different. I think, again, it's one of them things that gets pushed to the back of the drawer and they just sort of sit there. Right, so I'm going in with the little one now. Now for this one, I'm just going to use the tail end of the swirl. Oh dear, sorry, excuse me. Just have a drink. Right, so I'm just going to go in with the swirl and I'm just going to stamp it, kind of going all around the edge. There for that last one. I think it works quite well actually, using that just to create a different, I can't pick it up again, just to create a different decoration, you know, a different pattern on the bauble. Oops, oh no, I hope I haven't put more ink on that. Right, so I'm going in again with some more gold embossing powder. And I should be using tweezers. I've actually had real problems with tweezers. I've had the whole discussion with Mum. I went and lost my tweezers yesterday or day before. You know, like reversible tweezers. I completely lost them. Spent ages hunting for them. Found them just before the live, after I'd ordered some more. But I've now lost them again. I have no idea where they are. I literally had them about, well, less than an hour ago. They were here on my desk and they have literally vanished again. So it's probably a good job I did order some more, because I do need them during today's live. But it does annoy me losing things on here. I'm sure the desk just eats everything. It's a bit like the washing machine with socks, isn't it? Or the tumble dryer with socks. I have no idea where it's gone. So yeah, I did order some more, and they are quite pretty ones, nice little rainbow ones. But I am annoyed because I have no idea where the others have gone. Right, let me clean my desk again. Right, so now I've got the baubles here. What we need to do is create the little, I don't know what they're called. So these little bits here for the tops of the baubles. It is quite easy. So all I'd done was cut a little strip out. I don't know how thick this is. Where's my ruler? I guess you could kind of go any thickness you want, really, couldn't you? So it's about 7 millimeters, 7 or 8 millimeters thick. I'm loving these baubles. Oh, thank you. That's Craft Gremlins. Yeah, honestly, but I've lost it again. This is the annoying thing. I had them, they were here, and they are gone again. Who knows where they are? So I'm just going to cut out some little rectangles in this. I am just using scissors. So I'm going to cut 2 longer pieces and then one slightly smaller one. I won't joke and say that your tweezers were pinched. Yeah, well, do you know what? Everyone did get accused of pinching them yesterday, because people do have a tendency of coming in my craft room and stealing like scissors and, you know, my best scissors and, you know, the really good pens. And you just think, what are you doing? Stay away. Right, so now I've got these little pieces here. I'm just going to draw on some very small triangles. You know, they don't have to be perfect. So I'm going for 3 triangles on the larger rectangles, and just 2 triangles on the smaller one. And then I'm going to snip them out. So yeah, they're quite easy to do. Sorry, I tend to go all quiet when I'm cutting out, don't I? So that's all the little triangles now cut out. Got one that's a bit stuck. Right, for the next bit, I'm now just going to grab my embossing pen. If you don't have an embossing pen, you can just get your Versamark ink pad and just kind of dip them in. I'll show you how to do that as well. So you can just get your ink pad and sort of pop them in, push them into the ink, and then pop them on your paper. I am going to use the embossing pen. So the only thing I find with these is I haven't found a completely clear one. This is supposed to be clear, but it has got a blue tinge to it. I don't know if it does actually, once you emboss it, I don't know if it will actually emboss clear, I'm not sure. Right, I'm actually going to apply the ink onto this, not ink, embossing powder on a piece of card, and then I'll transfer them because they are this bit is a little bit fiddly. Sorry, I'm working off camera there, so I'm just tipping the ink over. Now with these, I would actually I put quite a lot of powder on. Can't pick it up. Oh no. Dip it in there. Probably will actually put some more embossing powder on that, just because it's not quite as much as I'd have liked. I left it so that the embossing powder was quite domed. I'm working off camera there, aren't I? Let me just move it up. So I'm leaving quite a chunk of embossing powder on there. I do want it quite thick. If you do have thick gold embossing powder, I would recommend using that. Sorry, it's out of focus there, isn't it? I'm just going to apply a bit more to this one because it's not quite as much as I'd like on there. Might have to do that one again. Right, messed that up, haven't I? Right, let's pop that out of the way. This is a better idea than trying to find the die. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't used dies here. Do you know what? I'm going to heat this from underneath again, just so that it at least starts off. Sorry, I'm moving about. It probably is going to go out of focus quite a bit. Because I've got the embossing powder quite thick here, it will sort of blow about if I do it direct. So I'm just kind of starting it off from underneath. You can see it is slowly melting there. Problem is, when you're doing it from underneath, it's hard to then see where you're actually embossing, where the heat gun is. Let's see if I can go on top a little bit. There we go. I'm doing it from a distance to try and melt that. Hopefully you can see it's now turning. So if you find an area that's not quite covered, because it's quite thick, it will sort of move about a little bit if you kind of tilt it and hold the heat gun on there. So I think that's now covered. Right, while I'm waiting for that to dry, don't just pick it up because it is quite thick. I would recommend starting to stick everything down before that, you know, before you attempt to pick that up. So I'm getting my 6x6 card blank out. I usually scorch the paper when I heat from underneath. Yeah, you do have to be a little bit careful. That is very easy to do. Right, so I'm just going to glue all this, you know, my background down now. The gold tops are really a clever idea. Thank you, Jean. I was trying to figure out how to do it because I said I don't have a die or anything, and I certainly didn't want to be spending out on a die just for Christmas when I'm probably not going to use it all that much. I suppose they're a little bit fiddly to do, but I think they look quite great, you know, once they've dried and everything. But yeah, I think as well, if you do them a little bit thick, they look a bit more sort of 3D and everything on your card. Alright, so I'm just trying to see if that's stuck down straight. Right, now you can start positioning your baubles. Oh, actually, I have already cut a sentiment out and stamped it again. That was just stamped in gold. So that was wishing you a magical Christmas. And that is off of 614. Thought I'd save a bit of time by stamping it out beforehand. So let's stick this down now in the corner. I'll go for about there. Oh, that top bit isn't quite straight. I'm just going to hold that up for a second because I haven't got that quite right. There we go. Right, so I'm now going to figure out where I want the baubles. So I think for the baubles, actually, I'm going to stick them down with a PVA type glue, just because there's gold embossing powder there. And yeah, I want them sort of stuck down properly. So yeah, I think I'll go for that in the centre. Let me move that up a bit so you can see, sorry. And stick that about there. So really push it down and sort of even hold it for a few seconds, just because there is embossing powder there, and you do need it stuck down nice and, you know, properly. The advantage of making your own is that you can make them for even bigger baubles. You certainly could. A gold bauble banner would look fab. Yeah, it certainly would. I mean, they don't take ages to do, so they're a bit fiddly if you're using the gold embossing powder. If you don't want to use that, Mum did suggest using Miri card. I hate Miri card. I don't like it. Using it usually gives me a migraine because it sort of reflects on everything. So I tend to avoid using it as much as I can. I'll go for about there. So yeah, I avoid using that, but you could definitely use, you know, gold Miri. What glue are you using, please? So the first glue that I used was Kalau. I usually use that for sticking down backgrounds, and and sort of larger pieces, because it usually gives you a bit of chance to, like, it gives you a bit of wiggle room. It's quite a wet glue. The one I'm using here is just a PVA glue. I think it's a Cosmic Shimmer. Yeah, it's a Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue that I've just popped into a smaller little bottle. Jean does a really fabulous glue as well on the website, which is a PVA type glue, so that would work just as well. Right, so I'll pop that about in the middle there. So yeah, I'll go about there. Right, now for the little lines, I didn't go direct onto the card with a pen. I think I was quite worried about smudging it. Oh, I'm not going to bother putting the pin in now. I was quite worried about smudging it. So I grabbed a ruler and I just used a pencil to start with, just to pencil in your string lines. Oops, spare circles, I'll get rid of them. So I'm just trying to make sure that they're somewhat straight on the card. The joy of using a clear ruler here is that you can try and line it up a little bit with the edges of the card, just to try and get it straight. Right, so I then used a Sharpie. Thanks, I'm looking for a cheaper glue than I'm currently using. Glue's a tricky one, so I've always found it's probably better to get a decent one. You know, a named one rather than just a cheap one. Some people disagree, but I think I just find, you know, you guarantee that things are then stuck down. I think the one that Jean sells that's Crafty, isn't it? I'm not sure now. I know she uses that one a lot. So yeah, you might have to go over the line a couple of times, because obviously where you've embossed it, you want it sort of covering the embossed areas really well. And the last one. I think this pen might actually be on its way out. Right, there we go. Right, so the gold bits should now be dry. So, again, I'm going to stick these down with the PVA. Now, I'd recommend not completely, you know, not putting too much glue on it, because you do want to draw on your little bows. Should probably put a bit on the spikes there. So I'm just going to hold that in place for a second to avoid smudges when drawing straight lines. Turn the ruler on its back. Yeah, it doesn't always work though. If you've got sort of, say for example, a metal ruler and it's, you know, completely flat, I end up with smudges and things. You can do that on some rulers, but to be honest, I still end up with wonky lines. So yeah, I prefer just to do it in pencil and then draw it on. I think with this it looks quite nice anyway, because it's quite sketchy looking. And in a minute I am going to do some lines around the baubles just to make them pop out a little bit more. Oh, thank you, Dora. It's nice of you to join us. Right, and pop the last one on. Said ideally you don't want any glue escaping, because I'm now going to go around all the bauble and everything with a Sharpie. So I'm going to start by drawing on the little bow lines. Again, you could do sort of a double line. My pen is definitely running out. Let me just see if I can spot my other Sharpie. There we go. Hopefully this one's a bit newer. Oh, that's better. So I'm just doing little loops on the tops. Now what I'm going to do is go around the edges of the bauble just to make them pop a little bit. So I'm going to start by sort of doing one straight ring round it. I'm doing a couple of rings round mine. Maybe this one's on its way out as well. And I'm going around the top of the bauble. I would recommend possibly even leaving it to dry for a little while, just so that if you have got any glue, I think I've just gone over a bit of glue, which has probably messed my Sharpie up now. Let's go back to the first one, see if I can get that working. Problem is, when I'm working, I tend to leave the lids off of my Sharpies quite a lot. No, that's just not working at all, is it? All right. No, that one's too thick. Sorry, having a few pen issues here. I'm just trying to find the right size pen. Oh, let's go for that one. Right, so I'm just using the micron pen here. Right, so I'm going to go around and do a second layer. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to do a bit of a wavy, sort of wavy line around it, just so that it sort of looks a bit sketchy. You don't sort of have to do that. I've come out a bit too far on that one. And again, do it on all the baubles. And finally the last one. So definitely recommend letting your baubles dry a little bit, because if you have got any excess glue, it will ruin your pens. And I'm just going to go around again and do a sort of another sketchy wavy line round. Right, and that is your finished card. I don't know if you can see them sort of wavy lines that I've done around there, but it just sort of makes it pop out a little bit. But yeah, so I think you can do this with anything. I mean, you could even do sort of star-shaped baubles. I'm going to do another very similar style with the, you know, the script and everything, with some trees, with some Christmas trees in the back down here. Don't quite know how I'm going to do it yet, but I will have a bit of a play, and as soon as I've done it, I'll post a picture of it. Lovely card, Dina. Fab card, love it. Lovely. Well, thank you for all your comments. I've switched to the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. It really sticks and you don't need a lot, so bottle goes a long way. I've tried lots and lots of glues, and this is the one. Yeah, I think you just have to have a play with glues and find out what works best for you. I think I've used these two for some time now. Mum actually recommended the Kalau glue to me, because if you're sticking sort of backgrounds and things down, just means that, you know, you have a bit more wiggle room. But the Cosmic Shimmer one I've used for well, for so many years, and I just think that I get on well with it, so I'm not going to change it. I have my Christmas design sorted for next year now. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing your take on it. Don't forget, the stamps that I've used during this live are all on special offer at the moment. So you get the 4 stamps, the festive papers, a mini book and some more bits. The usual price singularly would be $47.39 for all of that. But Gina's done a fabulous bargain deal for the price of £25, and that's available until Monday. So yeah, oh dear, excuse me. If you haven't got these stamps, do pop along and grab yourself a bargain. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. Just reading some of your last comments. Thanks, Great Live. I've put an order in for the stamps. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I'm sure I'll be back again soon with another crafty demo. Thanks, everyone. Bye.